Okay. We should be going live. I think there's sound and everything. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and transition. Welcome to the 55th episode of the Hagwon Startup podcast, the podcast that talks about anything and everything related to the living. We should be going and working in South Korea. As well, or particularly initially, to the running and operating of Hagwons or language schools here in South Korea, as well as Gambubangs. Today is the today is the 2nd of March. And the first week of, all schools having been closed is over, I guess, for the Hagwons at least. School year officially started today, but it hasn't. So school year is postponed until, or at least the start of the school year is postponed until next week, unfortunately. Coronavirus is once again on the menu, because I know everybody's anxious about it. I myself am anxious about it, slightly beginning to be, actually not anxious, but just, I guess, concerned. Quite frankly, I'm getting a little fed up with it, because, I'll get to it. I've got a pretty good collection of articles I've been digging around whole week, because in the two groups that I'm involved in on a regular basis, which is the Korea Travel and Guide group and the Living Korea Channel Facebook group. Things are, the coronavirus, or the discussion of the coronavirus is on the table on a regular basis, particularly in the travel group, where people are really anxious to know what's happening. There's a lot of people who are planning or canceling trips to South Korea. And so visiting those groups, it's always on the agenda. So that's why I'm covering it again, because it's affecting my life and it's affecting a lot of other people's lives. And it's basically causing a lot of havoc in South Korea, and it's frustrating, it's annoying, and we don't like you, Corona. Nobody likes you. Goddamn virus. So I've got a nice collection of articles, and so the reason why I'm getting fed up with it is because there's just such a bombardment of information coming from all sides, and it's really hard to figure out what's really going on. For the reasons that I'm going to go into in a little bit. There's a lot of information, misinformation, people saying one thing, people saying another thing. It's dangerous, it's not dangerous. The Chinese government is not reporting facts accurately. The figures that we're told are not accurate. And it's really difficult to make like a educated decision, almost. Because none of us are really in the know-how. We're all just consumers of information. So yeah, I personally am not in the right circles, I guess. The only thing I can do is siphon through all the plethora of articles that are available online and all the social media outlets, which are not always necessarily the most reliable ones to go through. But the internet, basically, a lot of the stuff that's posted on Facebook is obviously very limited. But if you go on the internet, you find the exact same things, and you literally would have to dig in through visit Google Scholar and find some scientific articles posted by actual doctors, research that's been done in order to siphon through all the articles and see if there's any information that's better than whatever the mainstream media is sending out, right? All right, let's do this. So as of today, wait, no, this is an outdated. This was this morning. This was the World Meters info on coronavirus, and this is as of this morning. So as of this morning, there were 89 cases, 808, 3,069 deaths, with Korea being the second largest one. Italy shot up, right? The third country with the highest cases of the coronavirus. And then is Iran with 66 deaths. Wow. Crazy. Okay, so I haven't updated this app since this morning, so let's click it and see what happens. 89,842. So the numbers haven't changed that much. There's a few more infected. 600 new cases in South Korea with 26 total deaths. To keep that in perspective, I think for the most part, most of the people dying are usually the elderly or people who already have health issues and are either already hospitalized or, in otherwise unhealthy condition themselves. There's an article that I found. This isn't because I've been collecting articles over the past week. Some of them go back as far as February 27th. So the first one, I don't know if this is an older one or not, but and I guess this has been spoken of already. That the outbreak of the virus here in South Korea is related to the Doomsday Church. I'm not sure if I covered this article in the last podcast or not. But so people call it the Doomsday Church that is linked to South Korea's coronavirus outbreaks were meeting in Wuhan until December. Let me have a quick look here at my 27th. So that was a Friday. So no. I would not have covered this in the last podcast because the last podcast would have been held on the 24th. So there you go. So this is what I found. But I guess this topic has been circulating all around the media and it's been talked about. The most recent outbreak here in South Korea is linked to the Shinjong something rather cult located in Daegu, and apparently. A large fraction of the cult's church is based in Wuhan, and some of the members in Korea have been meeting there until December. And even though things were announced sometimes in January, late December, I think China began to announce things on the virus itself. Apparently the dates don't necessarily match, so there's a lot of confusion about when the outbreak actually begin to take shape, or when China, the CCP, started to report on the outbreak and whatnot. So the Doomsday Church, that is the heart of South Korea's COVID-19 crisis, was holding prayer sermons in Wuhan, China, where the illness originated until December. So about 200 meters of the Shincheonjong Church of Jesus met at the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak and mostly ignored rumors of the illness that began to swirl as early as November. A kindergarten teacher told the South China Post. Believers of a religious cult that is at the center of South Korea's coronavirus outbreaks were meeting in Wuhan, China in December, and stopped only after people in their community began to come down with the unknown illness. An estimated 200 Chinese members of the Shincheonji Church of Jesus gathered for prayer sessions in Wuhan, the South China Morning reports. Wuhan is where, yes, we know where it broke out. And is followed by South Korea with, okay, yes. So rumors about a virus began to circulate in November, but no one took them seriously. Anonymous 28-year-old kindergartner teacher who belongs to Xinjiang told the Post. I was in Wuhan in December when the church suspended all gatherings as soon as we learned about the coronavirus. And from there, it went on and on and on. The churchgoers went home for Lunar New Year's in January. All the Xinjiang members who met in Wuhan are now in quarantine, the Post reported. But a follower traveled to Daegu, South Korea. From Daegu, South Korea to China in January. It's unclear where they went or where they are now. Okay. So, so the suggestion is that, I guess, one of the Xinjiang followers from Daegu traveled to China, presumably met with other Xinjiang members and, got infected then and brought it back to Korea. There was an interesting map, I'm going to have to find it, but there was an interesting map of case 31. Basically, the rapid spread is blamed on case 31. The 31st person to contract the coronavirus is said to have been a member of the Xinjiang Church, which has 250,000 followers in South Korea, which is a huge number. And it's really irrelevant who founded it and how it started, because that's not what we're looking for. We've got somebody in the chat. I still haven't received the... There's a chat, but it's gone now? Or it's not showing up in my feed just yet? Live chat, top chat, live chat. Live chat, please. Okay, it's Neil. The leader of the church bowed and apologized for his church's role in transmission of the disease of Korea. When do you think Xi Jinping will do likewise to the world? Yeah, I saw that article. I was going to get to it as well. Apologies were sent. Pardon my ignorance. Who's Xi Jinping? Chinese leader? The Pooh Bear? Okay, wait. I'm just looking for... I had a very cool article. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and it was... I don't want to jump guns here too early, but it was a very interesting... Yeah, I don't know where it was. It was a very cool map of how the virus spread, where it went, the circles. Was very interesting. Okay, the next article I have is basically the churchgoers complaining that they're being treated like criminals. And I think the reason, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the reason why they're being treated like criminals is because of, from what I understand, their practices are quite strange. So some of the things I read was that patient 31, case 31 is basically the person that spread Xinjiang traveled. Let me just find this article, see if I can find it, because it was very interesting. Google to the rescue. Oh no. Case 31, Korea. Graphics, cases thanks to coronavirus. No. Let's see this one. No, that's not it. Mm. Hmm. Well, that's unfortunate. I thought I saved it, but I don't seem to have done so. Okay, well, to summarize it, I'm just gonna kind of summarize it. So, the 31st person was a Shincheonji member of the Shincheonji Church. Did you see Lee Man-hee during his apology wore a watch with Park Geun-hye's name engraved on it, which would make the apology appear to be a political statement towards Moon Jae-in. I will get to that as well. Thanks, NP. That's on the menu as well. Politics and religion. Coming up. I told you, I dug up a lot. There's a lot of articles I was digging up all week, and just, again, to kind of amplify the confusion that there is around this virus. And I'm not sure if it's actually as severe as it is, or I think a lot of people are using it as an excuse for their own benefits. And it's quite frustrating because it's really hard to make any sense of it, to be honest. Like, you know, as for us as kind of bystanders, you know, consumers of the information that is being spewed out by the media and all the other outlets, it's really hard to see what's real and what's not, you know. So these guys are saying they were treated as criminals. So case 31, the woman, however old she was, she contracted the virus somewhere in Korea. She said that she had never traveled abroad, which caused her to basically ignore the government's suggestions or the government's rules, regulations for you know, people that were asking people to follow, like wash your hands, stay away from crowded places. She basically ignored all that, saying that since she had not traveled abroad, she would not have had the chance to contract the virus. And so she went, you know, she was running a high fever, and despite the fever, she spent, she was cooped up in the church for 2 hours on like 2 occasions, twice. And basically, the church, from what I understand, has these practices where they say that, you know, only those who don't believe in God contract the virus, and if you are sick, then you need to be, you need to come to church in order to fight the virus, to fight any illness, not just the coronavirus. And so basically, they conducted these sessions in very closed quarters, where the virus was easily spread. So she went to these gatherings twice in Daegu, you know, in a facility that hosts something like 1,000 to 2,000 people each time. Then she went to, I don't know, a hotel buffet with another 1,000 people, and basically over the duration of 2 weeks or so, she came in contact with something like 1,640 people altogether. This is in addition to, I don't know, the other 200,000 members of the Shincheonji Church that basically, you know, could have spread the virus further. And so simply because she decided to ignore the regulations that the present government was trying to implement, and, you know, advisories to contain the virus, which it was doing quite well, I think, initially, led to a rapid spread. And right now the reports are saying that about 57% of the virus presently in Korea, which is somewhere in, 3,000 cases, 4,300 cases right now, is due to this one particular woman, the Shincheonji case. Just a second. I have an idea of where I can find the graphics that I was mentioning earlier. Let's have a look. It's somewhere on my feed. But I've been quite active. I'm posting a lot of stuff, reading a lot of stuff, commenting and answering, and so things get buried under tens and thousands of responses and things written. Okay. Yes. See, there you go. If you know where to look, you will find it. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say thank you very much to all. I posted a kind of a plea on Facebook, and I was asking people to help and support the Live in Korea channel, and many people did. My numbers jumped up drastically. Not enough to get monetized, but immense thank you to all that took the time and supported the channel. If you are new here and you are just watching, please make sure to subscribe. The reason why I was asking people to help out was just grasping for straws. I'm looking for other means to get an income, because my school has been closed for the past week, and just today the announcement came from the Korean government stating that the public schools won't be opening until March the 23rd, which means we're basically looking at 3 more weeks, including this week and then 2 additional weeks. And as such, Hagwons are also encouraged to close. And even if Hagwons were to stay open, I don't think that there would be a lot of customers coming in, because I think parents are quite apprehensive about sending their kids in. Neil says, a returned Chinese student in Korea was diagnosed with coronavirus today. Yeah. Just another case, I guess, right? So again, thank you all to those who subscribed who were new. If you're here, if you're watching, thank you. If you're new, please make sure to subscribe, support the Live in Korea channel. Okay, I found the clusters as it is called. Where is it? Let me show you. Here we go. The Korean clusters. Okay, so coronavirus cases exploded. So this is from February the 26th. Exploded in South Korea, South Korean churches and hospitals. South Korea has announced hundreds of new coronavirus cases in the case of, okay, we know that. All right, so here's how it goes. Case number 1. Okay, what is it? Initial cases traveled from Wuhan. So the red people are the ones that traveled from Wuhan. So the initial 1, 2, 3 cases came from Wuhan. The case 4 and 5, I guess, as well, traced contracts. Case 6 is first to catch the virus locally. 7, 8 came from Wuhan. 9, 10, 11, 12 caught it locally. Here is a person who was married, so gave it to his spouse, or she to him. I think these are the numbers with which these people came in contact with. So this fella here, whatever number he is, more people traveled from Wuhan. These are people who contracted the virus locally. Here is patient 31. And this person, as you can see the number here, this was on February 26th. This person came in contact with 1,160 people, which is a hefty number to come in contact with, and obviously is way more than what was reported now. I assume, I don't know if there's an update on this. It will be interesting to see. This is just a graphic. I don't think it's a live chart. So unfortunately, Joe Boomer's here. This church is just sounding strange, even covering up. Yeah, well, I think the reason why they're covering up is because, excuse me, my nose is itchy. Hopefully money's coming my way or somebody's talking about me. They're covering up because it's a cult. It's not a proper church. And in addition to that, Jesus, God is punishing them. They were the ones saying that only the non-believers get sick. But here you go, like they're the ones who are spreading this disease. So who knows? Everyone's covering up. So that's what I'm going to get to as well. The cover-up, like, it's hard to believe. I have no idea anymore what's going on. Okay, so patient 31. It's not clear where patient 31 became infected with this virus, but in the days before her diagnosis, she traveled to crowded spots in Daegu, as well as in the capital Seoul. On February 6, she was in a minor traffic accident in Daegu and checked herself into an Oriental Medicine hospital. While at the hospital, she attended services at the Daegu branch and Shinjeong Church of Jesus on February 9th and again on the 16th. In between those visits on February 15, doctors at the hospital said they first suggested she be tested for the coronavirus as she had a high fever. Instead, the woman went to a buffet lunch with a friend at a hotel. In an interview with local newspaper with the Ilbo, the woman denied that doctors had advised her to be tested. As her symptoms worsened, however, doctors say they once again advised her to be tested. On February 17th, she finally went to another hospital for the test. The next day, health authorities announced she was the country's 31st confirmed case. In only a matter of days, those numbers had soared as hundreds of people at the Shinjeonji Church and surrounding areas tested positive. So there you go. Okay, I'm just gonna chat exploded. Church. Neil says the church is a useful distraction tool for the government to shift blame away from the true source of the problem. Yeah, but Joey says, but I would not blame them for spreading if it is that bad. It would spread anyway and eventually. I agree with you there, Neil. NP, what is the true source? China? Trod T says, my daughter teaches English in Cheongju. Okay, how is the situation in Cheongju? Sorry, Trod, are you not in, I assume you're not in Korea, right? Your daughter is. Korea high case because so efficient with tracking and treatment as well. Yeah, I assume by your message, Todd, that your daughter is in Korea, you are not. So, make sure, I hope that she's following us. If she isn't, make sure, 2 cases in Cheongju. Yeah, okay, so good. One of the places that has very few cases in Korea. So this woman basically caused a very rapid spread of the virus apparently by disregarding doctor's orders and her own condition, which sucks. Right. Bruno, hey Bruno, Bruno's here. Bruno, apparently the outbreak in China happened in November. There is a great documentary on the situation in Wuhan. Yeah, okay, so everybody's talking about that and this and the other. And so I would like to move on to the next article. I guess since we're already on the topic, let me see. Where is it? The thing. What should we talk about first? Politics or the hidden agendas? Let me see here. Okay, here we go. I've got an interesting article here, basically points fingers at both churches and conservatives, right on the topic that was mentioned earlier here, someone. So this is from just, I guess, 5 days ago, is that right? Go away, China Matters. The 27th of February, cults and conservatives spread coronavirus in South Korea. All right. So South Korea initially seemed to have the COVID-19 epidemic under control. I'm not going to read the article. I'll just summarize it for you from what I've read before. Okay. Basically, initially when the outbreak took place, sorry, is the video stuttering again? I think it's stuttering a little bit. It happens when I start opening too many things at once. Yeah. Okay. All right. It'll settle itself in a little while, I presume. So to summarize it, yeah, every country hides stuff in pieces. Did North Korea fire some rockets? I just read that something just before I started this the podcast. I saw something about North Korea. So again, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff happening. Just too much. Life is very chaotic at the moment. Fight through it, guys and gals, if there are any gals out there. So this article basically says that while initially the Korean government had a pretty good grip on the coronavirus outbreak, there were only 30 cases until the 31st when things just exploded. So that's when the church comes in, right? When it came to preparation, it helped. South Korea had done one of a hell of a job. They've been preparing for a potential new strain of coronavirus since as early as November 2019 without knowing what virus would hit the country next. That's interesting. But I guess, SARS and MERS were the preparatory stages during which the Korean government could have, spent some time and prepare for eventualities, right? And apparently this is something that Korean media says on a regular basis, because even my wife repeats similar sentiments. Who knows what's coming next? There could be another thing in the next few years. The info was also presented with names removed in an interactive website that allows public blah blah blah. What is it? Okay, so all the preparations were in position. That all came to a crashing halt last week thanks to the 31 first case, and that was the patient of the church, right? So that was the churchies basically, bombarding us, the cultists. So this is the part of the cult, the church, that caused some problems. And now the political part, the political aspect of it is, the cult isn't the only ideology helping push the virus forward. Conservatives, still recovering from Park Geun-hye's impeachment and removal in 2017, have held large-scale rallies in the middle of Seoul each week for months, even as large corporations are advising their employees to work remotely, and people are canceling meetings. These conservative groups, largely made up of a high-risk older population, continue to hold rallies, cavaliering, ignoring the Seoul government's advisory to the contrary, shouting down Seoul Mayor Park Won-sun's plea to stop the rally. The conservative group leader and pastor John Kwang-hun implausibly claimed it was impossible to contract coronavirus outdoors, while those attending claimed God was making the wind blow to drive out the virus. What? Jesus. Okay, let's skip that, because that just gives me a headache. Shit like that makes my brain hurt. The more well-heeled South Korean conservatives in the legislative halls. Another problem is that a lot of Korea doesn't really have boundaries. There's no boundaries between politics, religion, and corporations. Things that I think, for the most part, expected to be in the Western society, in the Western world, these things tend to be, are hoped to be separate, right? We expect that government and big corporations do not mingle, because obviously that causes, problems of interest. But yet in Korea, people seem to be completely oblivious to that. I used to teach the CEOs at a very large S-oil company who basically told me, I was teaching one of the CEOs, and he says to me that he has a friend who has invested in S-oil stocks, and he's a government official. And I've kind of stopped and I thought, is that okay? I mean, I don't know. Is it okay to invest into company stocks like, S-Oil when you are on the board of when you work as a government official? It's kind of bizarre to me. But apparently that's a thing. And now you've got these officials. The most recently was the chief whatever leader of the Korean Health Organization, right? That was leading the whole the health matters in terms of the coronavirus outbreak, and he's supposed to be one of the representatives for that particular church. If you want to get into high places in Korea, you have to know a lot of people. And the best places to meet people are in churches in Korea. So these things are intertwined. Politics and religions are very much intertwined, and so very difficult to kind of separate them. Let me have a look at some text here, some comments. It's pretty wild. Night 44 says it's pretty wild in Daegu. Joe Boomer says, I sneezed on the bus and that went over well. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sure. I feel intimidated. I don't know. I have no idea how to express. I feel concerned for the way I appear in front of other people when I cough. So I've had a cough for the past month, whatever it is, if it's some lungy thing or Korean air. I find when I inhale a lot of cold air, I cough. And every time I do that, I feel like people are immediately, keeping their distance, and it's ridiculous. Like nobody should be feeling weird over a cough, right? But in this time, everybody does. So I'm sure a sneeze on the bus went over really well, right? NP says we're wearing a mask. Wearing a mask? Okay, it's weird. Night 44. There's hand sanitizers in elevators and stuff. Yeah, same here. There are hand sanitizers in all over buildings, in stores, and everywhere you go there are hand sanitizers, and it's good. I think even health officials are saying that if anything else, forget masks, but make sure your hands are clean. Don't pick your nose with dirty hands. Once you wash your hands, go ahead, dig up gold if you want. But the big cities, stay away from crowds. Right, Joe Boomer says. Night 44, everyone's terrified. NP, are people even going out in Daegu? So there's another article I've got. Apparently there are talks about shutting Daegu down. Containment of Daegu. Oh, okay, right there, it popped up. I thought I was in the chat window, but here we go. Containment of Daegu mauled by the government. Have you heard? February 26th, so that's quite old. Korea is considering a containment policy for Daegu and North Gyeongsang-do to control the coronavirus outbreak, local officials announced Tuesday, stoking fears in the country's southeastern regions that the area might be placed under a lockdown like Wuhan, China. Oh boy. Obviously it hasn't happened yet, because you would have heard about it, right? People living in Daegu, that hasn't happened yet. Neil says, what's the most popular movie in China? I have no idea. Joey, my 3 children have 2 more weeks before school starts. Mom does not want them going out, so that is fun. It is fun. I was laughing, but not now. We just want to know when this will end. Yeah, it's a good question. So it won't end for at least 3 more weeks. That's for sure. I'm not going to read the whole article. You can check it out. There's the link. It's containment of Daegu mauled by the government. Just type it into Google. You'll get the article. If you want to read the whole thing, you can do that very much. Joe Burmer says they huddle all together to pray in close quarters. Just the normal weird Korea thing. In other words, yeah, right. So. Okay, so one more thing on the virus before I jump into the weirdness of things. Before I jump into the thing that really irritates me and kind of freaks me out or confuses me. Okay, so there's another article that I found. Actually, well, this is kind of on the freaky-ish side, and I found this just today. Although this article is from the 29th of February. How long can coronavirus survive on surfaces? And it said that it's only a few hours, right? But an analysis of 22 earlier studies of similar coronaviruses, including severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, Middle East respiratory syndrome, blah, 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 can remain infectious on inanimate surface for up to 9 days at room temperature. However, they can quickly be rendered inactive using common disinfectants, and many also dissipate at higher temperatures. So if you're unlucky enough and the virus stays on your desk and you don't clean your desk and it's at room temperature, it could be there for 9 days. I also heard talk of longer, of like 20-something days. But again, clean the surfaces or move to Russia, I guess, where the temperatures are really cold, because I guess viruses, that particular one, can't survive. Or to India, where it's really hot, because that's another option where the virus cannot survive hot temperatures. All right. Yeah. Back to the chat menu. The heat will kill the virus by June, Neil says. Hopefully. In the meantime, stock up on masks, because it'll be back by early October, late November next year. Right, NP says, if the heat kills the virus, how come it is in Singapore, Australia, and now South America? Joe Bimmer, 3 weeks now. 3 weeks what? For closure of schools, or the duration of the virus? All right. I saw an article somewhere and talk of... okay, here's another article. How long do coronaviruses persist? The first section of the new paper focuses on how coronaviruses can survive. So this is the medical news today. And this is from February 15th, which is quite old. 22 studies have been conducted on different coronaviruses. The authors show that depending on the material and the conditions, human coronaviruses can remain infectious from 2 hours to 9 days. At temperatures of around 4 degrees Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit, certain versions of the coronavirus could remain viable for up to 28 days. And I found this on a YouTube channel. I think a dude was just sensationalizing. So that's another problem that I find with a lot of like freaky doodle YouTubers, posts on Facebook. People will latch on to like, the most extreme part of anything that's being talked about, like this coronavirus right now. Yeah, a good way to attract viewership and good way to get a clickbait is to call your video something corona or COVID, which is what I've done for the past 4 videos or so, and the views have drastically increased for those particular videos. So the first or second video I posted with the title of Corona or COVID-19, I think I had the most views on that particular video out of all my videos within the period of the first 3 to 4 hours. Like literally, there were about 200 views on that video in just a couple of hours. So a lot of these guys find articles like this one and latch on to, you know, this last thing, that it can last up to 28 days, and they basically sensationalize it and drive people nuts because they completely omit all the other aspects of, like, you know, washing surfaces. It can last for 28 days if you leave, you know, the surface untouched, if it's filthy and it's unclean. But if you keep things tidy and clean and not necessarily at room temperature, then things will be fine. Although this is pretty cold. So I assume that at temperatures of 30 to 40, coronaviruses tend to persist for a shorter time. So in colder temperatures, they stay longer, stick around longer. In warmer temperatures, they die off quicker, right? That's the presumption. Yeah. Joe Boomer says here, Neil said, read somewhere studies conducted, SARS couldn't survive the heat. Joe says, no school, no work. What is better than that? Work and income are better than that. One of the reasons why I was asking people to subscribe to my channel is because I'm short on cash. One of the reasons why I'm looking for extra work is because we have no income and huge expenses. Like, you wouldn't imagine how much money we have to cough up each month just to cover the cost of this Hagwon, for which we have literally zero income right at the moment. And nobody's helping us. And the amount of frustration I am getting from people, like literally today, is just phenomenal. Today, somebody set up my phone, and instead of typing the proper number, like literally, instead of a 0, they wrote in 1. What the hell is wrong with people? We ordered bags from a dude, and he couldn't print the goddamn labels properly. Jaegyong sent him, my wife sent him a picture, a shot of what we want the bag to look like. And he messed it up to a degree that you wouldn't begin to even comprehend the stupidity of that. Why would you do that? So, what was my point? I don't know. Not sure. So yeah, better than not working would be working. For me personally. I'm not saying everybody, because if I was a university teacher, you know, and I was like on a 70% salary right now, dude, I'd be happy as a pig in shit, to be honest. Joe Boomer, SARS and H1N1 were all duds, but money makers for the globalist. Right on, get out. Night 44, there were a couple hikers in the mountain behind my house. Some weren't even wearing masks. Yeah, and that's the thing. Another thing with masks. From what I hear, most care providers say that masks are not necessarily efficient. Mainly because they are much better at keeping germs from going out than going in. So I guess rather than thinking of, you know, I'm healthy, so I'm going to wear a mask to prevent myself from becoming sick by inhaling stuff. Think of it that in case, because of the long incubation period of the virus, you wearing mask, you're kind of protecting or, you know, saving other people from becoming infected, just in case if you have it, you know, don't give it to other people. I am near Cheongju, Sejong 1 case and Gonju 1 case. Corona, not about politics. Well, yeah. Case 1, Joe, you're in China. Is there an airport near there that flies international? I guess Trot is concerned about his daughter, right? If you're a dad, you probably want your kid to be on a plane and out of here. I fully understand, man. I think she's okay. I think she's okay. You know, because she's in a place that doesn't really have that many cases. But I mean, yeah, if you want your kid home, then get her home. Half of South Korea's coronavirus cases are linked to a controversial religious organization. Yada yada da. February 28th, coronavirus news. Where things more than okay. Here's so. People all across the globe are working on vaccines. And apparently, according to CNN, posted on February 28th, more than 20 coronavirus vaccines are in development around the world, the World Health Organization says. And I guess everybody has a vaccine. I heard a quote somewhere. Everyone has a vaccine until there is one. Until there actually is one, something along those lines. NP says, in the debate about masks, a few weeks back, I was ambivalent about them. I have changed my mind. Why did you change your mind, NP? I wonder. So apparently there are people, organizations working on the whole vaccine thing. And some of the things, so here's what confuses me, okay? Because when we go back to the cases, let's look again at the number of the cases here. It's 3,069 deaths, 45,000 recovered. So when you look at the number of deaths to the number of recoveries, clearly, you know, there's a lot more people that recovered. Basically, 45,000 makes up, you know, over 50% of recoveries, of people recovered. The 3,000 is a really minuscule number of people. And when you consider the number of people globally, you got 7 billion people and 89,000 are infected, and 3,000 out of 7 billion people died, then you really ask yourself, what is the panic about? Don't more people die each day from gunshots in like a country alone, in one country like the USA? And we're talking about 3,000 deaths on a global scale. I think there's more people dying every single day from natural causes, right? So when I look at number of this, and I'm not trying to dismiss it, because obviously, you know, people dying is not something that should be dismissed, but the natural progression of things lead to death. And so when you have something that's, you know, has a number like 84,000 of cases, out of which 45,000 have recovered and only 3,000 of deaths counted, then I stop and wonder, what is the big fuss about? And here is another thing. This article is Global Reach. What is it? globalresearch.ca.org. Let me just read you this article here. Okay. 5 million cases worldwide, 650,000 deaths annually. The seasonal flu virus is a serious concern, but the Wuhan coronavirus grabs the headlines. So we're talking about 5 million cases worldwide compared to the present 89,000 cases of the Wuhan virus. or whatever. It's not the Wuhan virus. We shouldn't call it that, right? They say, okay. And 650,000 cases of, deaths annually. So this is not like for this year, right? This is kind of like a reoccurring annual thing. I'm sure the numbers fluctuate, but compared to the 3,000 deaths over the past 3 months, right? First published on January 27, 2020. Figures quoted for the coronavirus pertain to late January. The common flu virus will infect millions across the globe. It can be easily spread and will especially strike the young and the elderly. But this is not what has been described as the Wuhan virus. The common flu is far deadlier. This is not to downplay the Wuhan coronavirus flu or to give it its medical name, code 2019CNOV. This is an older article. I think the name's changed since then, right? The common flu causes up to 5 million cases of severe illness worldwide and kills up to 650,000 people every year, according to the World Health Organization. So instead of reading the rest of the article, I'm going to skip to the World Health Organization page, and let's have a look. I looked at it before, I just don't remember what it says. And while that loads, I'm going to look at the comments. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, says Night. Why is it not loading? Oh no, look at that. Oh, it's loading, it's just slow. No international airport, just local Cheongju. Trod, South Korea is very small. International airports are never that far away. True. Yeah. Joe Boomer, thanks, Jack. Great information. Thanks, Joe. Bruno B, despite the risk of mutation and the high risk of infection for older and sick people, the virus is already part of the system. Todd, guess you never really care until you get it. Yeah. And B, shouldn't people get it to build up immunity? Right. So on the immunity thing, what's his face there? Dr. Mike. Last week I mentioned him. I've got his link posted. He's a physician in the USA and he talks about it. And I've also read some articles about it. And apparently immunity varies, right? Some diseases, some viruses help us build immunity. So like if you have chickenpox, it's a disease you get only once. Once you cure it, you never get it again. It's a lifetime immunity. But some other viruses have immunity times that are much shorter. So I guess you could catch a cold and then you're immune for, I don't know, a couple of months possibly. I don't know what it would be. But obviously we catch colds again and again and again. And so our bodies do not build up immunities. And the reason why, this my doctor said, was because the viruses or bacteria, whatever, I guess viruses, they mutate. So the type of cold or virus that you become infected with at one point may not be the same one that you will become infected with the next time around. And so our bodies are not able to build up immunity, for all of them, or not even for periods that are long enough to, not lifelong. So that's about the immunity. And Todd says, guess you never really care until you get it. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say you don't care, because people obviously do care. People care enough to shut down their businesses and basically bring an entire country's economy, the economy of an entire country, to an almost standstill, whatever the order is. There are businesses that have shut down. Every single Hagwon that I know of is closed for at least, the next 2 weeks and possibly a whole month. Restaurants are closing. Me personally, I refuse to go to restaurants. I heard of cases, of people catching the coronavirus in a restaurant. And last time I went to a restaurant, I don't know, mentally I psyched myself out and I left the restaurant feeling sick. So I will not go to a restaurant anymore. So I wouldn't say that people don't care. People do care very much, which is why we're in this mess right now. Maybe people care too much. Yeah, right. So Ted says, here's San Antonio, Texas, a person recovered and later test came up positive again. Right. So there was mention that there are several cases in which people have become infected again with the coronavirus. And I guess there is, so first, if you do get infected, you do not necessarily become immune to it. And if you do become immune to it, it may be for a short period of time, and possibly there is another mutation of the virus. I guess that would be the suggestion that Dr. Mike made earlier, right? Hagwons and new Hagwons are screwed for a while. Yeah, big time, Joe. I could tell you a tale about it. Actually, look through my videos and you will hear a tale. Trod, if you're new here, I've never seen you before, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Help out the channel, you know, because I need it. We need it. Support the channel, people. Okay, so going to the health organization, World Health Organization, up to 650,000 people die of respiratory diseases linked to seasonal flu each year. In a minute, I will show you a video that will blow your mind, because I'm not sure about the legitimacy of that particular video, but it boggles my mind and it's quite scary and I don't know what to believe. But this right here, this supports my initial instincts, my initial beliefs. Like, I never really understood why people were freaking out over the coronavirus, other than that it was new. 650,000 people die each year of the common flu. And again, I'm not going to read the article. The numbers are self-explanatory. That's the main point. You can check it out if you go to World Health Organization. Here, let me copy and paste this link for you. Copy. Where do I paste it? Where's my chat? Where my chat at? Oh, hold on. I messed up here a little bit. Oh no, it's okay. All right, just a second. Where my chat at? Where's my chat? God damn it. God damn. Transition. Seriously, I lost my chat. What's going on? Where is the chat? Eh? Weird. No chat. Okay. I would have to open an additional window. Usually I have a chat here on the side, and right now it's disabled for some strange reason. Pop out chat. Where my chat? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Oh, it appeared, and now I killed it. Okay, anyway. Are you ready for the big boomer? Okay, so I've got a video from my YouTube channel, and it's quite interesting. Okay, Neil, no problemo. Glad you stopped by. I'm happy you didn't pass out before we started. You can finish watching the rest, I guess, some other time, right? We're at like, what is it, 40 minutes? An hour and 3 minutes. So yeah, have a good night, Neil. My kids, yeah, I guess NP asks, are your kids happy about no school? Of course kids are happy about school. Our neighborhood is very known in Ulsan for Hagwons. It's very competitive, lots of Hagwons, and I see kids walking around and they look very, very happy. There's a lot of happy children around. They don't have to deal with the nonsense of going to Hagwons. There's no Hagwons, streets are quiet, kids are happy, and things are good for them, I think. Okay, so I've got this YouTube channel I would like to play for you. Please let me know if you can hear it, okay? Here we go. Oh wait, I gotta transition. Let me know if you can hear, okay? Let me know in the comments. This
number one, transparency, burn down the cyber fireworks, give Americans all the truth. Data is fake. It is currently all the China. It is 250 million people. It the truth is 1.5 million people. Is is not only emotion. It is a confirmed case. And the rest of the people now is burn the body more than 50,000, not 30,000. After now, all the people, millions and millions of people is nearly die, and it's 250 million people is get the courage. They very powerful. They say, oh, this is not a farm animal to person. This is the farmers behind the control. Make this. Some people control the truth. The number data is fake. All the 2.1%. Every day, 2.1% people die.
The echo is there because that's the weird sound from the video. I have no idea why.
You see the news and you just to decide for yourself.
Welcome back to War Room Pandemic. It is 6 February, the year of our Lord 2020. We're now honored to be joined by Miles Guo, the renowned whistleblower, controversial but renowned whistleblower against the Chinese Communist Party. I want to start off, we have incredibly bad news to report. What is going on in Wuhan? Can the American people, we're trying to get information, but we understand the CCP suppressing it. Can you tell the American people and what is exactly going on in Wuhan right now?
Guys, very bad news. It's a disaster since the 2019 December. Is the 17, not the 30. It's the Dr. Li and the Dr. Xie is to make the report for the Wuhan government and the central government. You see, this the currency is the very so bad, very dangerous. They arrest them. This is not go to disaster way. But now, I think just everything's beginning, sir. It's more the worst.
There's reports in the New York Times and other reports about the Chinese Communist Party now is trying to have their official organs of the Global Times and the People's Daily and the news agency only report positive news. And there's also a big suppression of social media. What is the situation right now? And we've seen this with Dr. Li. He's a hero, not just to China, he's a hero to the world. He tried to stop this when it needed to be stopped back in December. Dr. Li gave his life for this. And the Chinese Communist Party has done nothing but suppress this information. And now even the mainstream media, the New York Times is reporting how they're suppressing social media. They're suppressing, their news agencies are only putting out positive stories like building the quarantine hospitals, which is obviously terrific. But can you tell the American people today what's the real situation in China?
Yes, sir. Now, as you see this, the question is 3 times talk about the New York Times. It's the newspaper, but very bad. You look at this, over the nearly 2 months, this is the disaster. It is the serious in China that happened. But the West world, all the media, no one is media is early. We can talk the truth. They say medium side. They don't want to make the threat and nervous give the social.
So this guy is saying that the numbers that we're hearing are very different from reality. The interview looks legitimate, and right now the video kind of shows the hospital that was built. So in China, they built this hospital in like 6 or 10 days or something like that. But apparently, it's in horrible condition. It's like a military airplane hangar.
It's the don't want the outside people know about this the truth. So seriously, you look at the CCP, is the target member is yesterday is died the 560 people, and totally get is the confirmed case is the just the 56,000, but is the current people they say it's 180,000. This is totally wrong. As the your mortality rate, not 500, 600. I give you example. In the Wuhan, mortality rate in the Wuhan, coronavirus in Wuhan totally is the 49. The 24 hours work, they burn the death the body. Every day is 1,200. They work at more than 17 days. Only Wuhan, but now they are is in the megapolis. It's currently all the China is 250 million people. How many people really get confirmed case? And this outbreak, but this is the outbreak in half China, 200 million people. So I get the inside information is the truth is 1.5 million people is is the not only emotion, is the confirmed case, and the death of the people now is the burned body more than 50,000, not 30,000 to the now. So this is why CCP don't want the West world to know the truth. This is why they are control the inside the media. 86% inside social media and official media just talk. This is the case, and the stake is from American CIA, but they don't want to talk how much is the people get the quarantine, how much the people confirm the case, and how many people is the emotion, and how many people is death. This is really dangerous. This is why this is not animal to person. This is not a person to person. Just 2 weeks ago, now they say, oh yes, it is a person to person. But yes, officially PLA website, they very powerful. They say, oh, this is not from animal to person. This is the farmers behind the control make this,
Okay, so I stopped here because I think this video is going to get demonetized because of this, right? I posted the link underneath Faded Polo. Go check it out. But basically, this dude right here, whoever he is, says that the numbers that are reported by the Chinese government and the American government are completely wrong. Like he was talking about 1.5 million people infected in China. And the crematoriums in Wuhan, of which there were 42, I think he said, are burning people at the extent, or cremating people at the extent of 1,200 people each day in every single crematorium, right? They're running 24 hours a day. So this is just Wuhan. So he's saying that the numbers that are being indicated, that are shown, are completely wrong. So I don't know how accurate this source is. This is Voice of America, America Voice. Trud, I guess you could, I don't know if you're familiar with this. You're from the States. I don't know how many people are from the States here. So I don't know how accurate the source is. I don't know how legitimate it is. But you see the point I was trying to make earlier. Like there's just so much information. There are the numbers that we're told compared to the numbers of the common seasonal flu and the deaths. And when you look at these numbers, why is everybody so concerned with 3,000 deaths when the seasonal flu kills 650,000 deaths annually? Why is there such a big concern? So when I listen to this guy, I'm thinking maybe the reason why there is such a concern is because he's actually telling the truth. And the governments are trying hard to hide it, to control it, to contaminate it, but are not trying to spread fear. I have no idea what is the truth. I'm just a simple consumer of the information. Joey Boomer says China suppresses news. Absolutely. I have known some folks and even siblings, family in China. They just do not disclose much. Steve Bannon, good source. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Trod saying that the news is from Steve Bannon, but media in USA and Korea are liars as well. Yeah, well, I think all media are full of crap. All media are biased, first of all, and they're very easily influenced, basically, you know? Like, we live in a society, in a monetary society that functions on money, and in a society where people can be bought, ideas can be bought, media can certainly be bought. And media report what they are told to report, essentially, because they get their news sources, they get their news from certain sources. In most cases, because there is such a high competition, for example, right? Like, I did my dissertation in critical discourse analysis, in which I looked at the conflict between Palestine and Israel, and I analyzed 3 news outlets: Al Jazeera, BBC, and Fox News. Clearly, Fox News would have been, and I looked at the bias that each media presented in reporting the news on the Israeli-Palestine conflict, and clearly Fox would have been biased in favor of Israel, which was initially, it was so easy. Like, I analyzed the several news anchors on Fox, and every single one of them held very strong bias towards in favor of Israel. And that bias shifted ever slightly in the case of BBC, or maybe it was CNN, I can't remember. And then you would figure that Al Jazeera, which is a Middle Eastern-based news agency, would be leaning more towards Palestine, as being more supportive of Palestine. But even with Al Jazeera, there was significant bias in favor of Israel. Pardon me, that was necessary. So, and so when I was doing that research, I read a lot about on what Chomsky did and his research, and Chomsky does a lot of research into the news media. He published several books, and so he's very knowledgeable in that area. And basically, according to him and other people who worked in that area, most of the main news outlets get their news from sources like the police, the government. The government in the USA particularly holds news report rallies, right? So you've got the health organization, and they gather people in one room, and they're told one thing. And so every single news reporter will report the exact same damn thing that they were being told by the government institution. And the government institution tells them whatever they want the world to know, and that is the information that we hear for the most part. So mainstream media is extremely inaccurate, I would say. It's extremely biased, and it's usually biased in favor of the present government. And so we're basically stuck with hearing what they want us to hear, quote unquote. Joe Burmer, teachers in Wuhan say nothing is going on out of quarantine and everyone was okay, but that was foreigner community. Korea goes with global agenda. What do you mean? They were saying nothing was going on from the foreign community. I haven't watched it. The last one I saw was reports by a teacher based in Wuhan, and the entire city was shut down. But I haven't seen any reports from him in a while. Right, I don't trust the World Health Organization. Yeah, and when you talk about the World Health Organization, right, the one organization that's supposed to take care of the world's health, and we're saying we don't trust them. If we don't trust these guys, who do we trust? Right? Who do we trust? So, yeah, man, I don't know. To me, the numbers just don't add up, Just forget what he said and forget what the governments say. I look at I mean, I look at the statistics here. 650,000 people die. You know, what is it? 5 million people get infected with the seasonal flu cases worldwide, right? And then we're looking at these cases, and I'm thinking to myself, why is there such panic? Why is there such panic over 3,000 deaths? Like, I'm certain this is worldwide. It's not just in one country or even one city, okay? I'm certain, without, you know, through years of hearing and listening and reading and studying, I can tell you for certainty, without having to do the research, that there's more people dying of natural causes every single day than this. There's more people dying every day from natural causes than 3,000. So what is the big concern? What is the panic that is being spread? Why is it happening? So it makes me believe that there is an agenda. People are saying, no, there is no agenda. I think there is, for that very simple reason. Some teachers reported this. Reported what? What I was just saying? Yeah. It's just very bizarre that there's, you know, they're calling it a pandemic. A pandemic is basically a virus that has that is spreading very quickly all across the globe in all countries, or in, you know, in many countries, and it's out of control. And right now, I don't even know how many countries there are infected. Well, let's have a look. I do know. We know. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Is there a number of countries? There's a lot of countries, like around 60 countries. How many countries are there in total? 150 or something? I don't know. I think this is just me, like my post-conspiratorial mind kind of going on a rampage. Good question. Why not trust WHO? NP asks. I would like to know. Honestly, you know, I personally don't know. I don't have enough knowledge about WHO. I never really listened to them all that much. I think first time I ever heard about WHO was in a movie somewhere years ago. And, you know, but okay, so going back to my conspiratorial roots, every event that occurs and there's attention drawn to it, it seems to be a destruction. Every time something big happens, the media bombards us with you know, pre-selected information that they are told to report by other sources. And again, it's almost like the government's gearing up for something. There's going to be new regulations. Like in China, China just recently instituted the what is it? I don't know what it's called. The system where they keep track of everyone and you're graded on your behavior, everything, everyone's monitored. There is a grading system and you're allowed to basically exist, you know. Based on the rating which you receive, you may be denied access to credit cards. Okay. Well, Joey, the WHO said fluoride was good for you. The issue with fluoride is that in small quantities, it is said to be good. But we're talking about quantities that are minuscule. And the problem arises when you start adding fluoride in a number of different sources that you take into your body, at which point the ratio of fluoride that you take in increases beyond the acceptable number. That's where the problem comes in, apparently. Now, having said that, I avoid fluoride as hell. I don't use any toothbrush, any toothpaste that has fluoride in it, and most of them do. Last time I bought water in Thailand, and I was drinking it very happily, and I looked at the label and it said fluoridated. Very happily, I almost vomited right there on the spot, man. I felt sick, I threw it away. They put fluoride in baby food, bottled water. Right, yeah, exactly. So that's why. But I think they say, so again, you know, there's always this excuse of, I mean, aspartame is used worldwide as a sugar substitute, and many people use it. But that again is, you know, it's said to cause cancer. Cigarette tobacco has been used for years. People still smoke it to this day. And the excuse is that there's never been actual proven cases saying that tobacco causes cancer, right? So when WHO says fluoride is okay, you can't really, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. Make your own choices, I guess. So again, I think we're going to be seeing something. There's going to be increase in things. There's going to be an increase in oversight. There's going to be a lot more government control over the things that we do, how we do them, to avoid any further cases of virus contamination and virus spread. Maybe some good things will come of it, like the development of new advanced technologies for, I don't know, for the discovery of, you know, early onsets. Maybe they're going to put something into the new vaccines that are going to start poisoning us, and we're all going to want to take it because, heck, nobody wants to get a coronavirus, you know, the Wuhan virus again next year. So when they come up with a vaccine, they could just pump it full of poison and like kill off half the world's population, right? I don't know, man. Todd, just like the vaccines, people say they're actually bad, not good for you. In the 1950s, there was something, commercials everywhere. It is good for you, was the claim, and the commercial had doctors saying this. I wish I was smoking what they were. Who are these people? NP says. Yeah, so, you know, everything is good in moderation. Some things are really bad for you. Eat your vegetables, wash your hands, stay away from hard drugs and soft ones as well. Booze is not good for you in long-term intakes. Yeah, man. I think for the vaccines, you know, there's always cases saying like, oh, my children have developed this or that after vaccination. I think, again, that's like the case of one kid who was basically unlucky, possibly whatever. Maybe the vaccine was messed up. Maybe there was a malfunction. Maybe the particular person's organism didn't respond the way it should have responded to a vaccine for whatever reason, maybe allergies. I have no idea. But I mean, vaccines are not a pandemic, right? Booze, yes. It kills your brains, it kills your liver. Have you ever heard of what's the disease? Named after Russian, basically prolonged consumption of alcohol eats away at your brain, kind of like Alzheimer's does with time. It's all about money. Absolutely. Everything is about money. That's what I was saying earlier. When we live in a society that is monetized, where you can buy and sell anything, you can buy and sell people. And people will sell and buy people. Heck, my family was sold for 650,000. Watch the video, I posted it. Basically, our friendship was sold for 650,000 won. Yeah, so it is all about money. Absolutely. I go to work for money. I sell my hairy boys' ass pictures for money because I've got no money coming in. forward. Yeah, in the meantime, gotta find some way to bring some money, or things are not gonna be looking good. To buy people. Well, we are people being bought. Your employer buys you. We are the living proof that slavery exists. We're just the incarnated different type of slavery in which, in the past, masters would feed their slaves, and they would house them and clothe them, give them food, right? Feed, that's what meant by fed. But these days, our masters no longer do these things because we have a monetary system in which we get paid by our masters, and we have to provide for our own food, for our own shelter, and our own clothing. We live in a modern form of slavery, whether you like it or not. Okay, I think I've exhausted my my source of all that is Corona for tonight. How we make money now? If you are really interested,
Doya Kim was a member of the Sincheonji religious group for 11 years, the group at the heart of South Korea's spike in coronavirus cases. He says he was the International Affairs Director and interpreter for its founder and chairman, Lee Man-hee. His mother-in-law was Lee's partner. He says the nature of the group makes it easier for a virus to spread. He says friends from within the group told him they were banned from wearing masks as it's disrespectful to God.
They're packed together like sardines in one area. They're forced to sit line in line. And literally, your knees will be touching the other person's knee.
Missing services because of illness was not an option, he says.
You take roll call. You're given a card, like a little credit card. And when you go to church, you have to swipe it like you're going to work.
The group itself says it deeply regrets the outbreak, but insists they are cooperating with authorities.
We are sincerely urging everyone recognize that Sincheonji Church and its devotees are the biggest victims of the coronavirus, and refrain from hate and groundless attacks.
But Daegu police say 600 officers had been tasked with tracking down hundreds of missing members, knocking on doors, tracking phone calls, scouring CCTV footage to track members' movements. Kim says members from around the world may have been in South Korea twice in recent weeks, once for an annual gathering like this one from a few years ago, and the funeral of the leader's brother from January 31st to February 2nd in a hospital in Cheongdo. Numerous coronavirus infections and deaths have since been recorded at the same hospital. This isn't just a Korean issue, this is
not just a Korean issue, because since those people from overseas all gathered together at once, what happens is we don't know how many of those people who went back overseas are infected as well.
Sincheonji claims it has 230,000 members, with bases in the United States, China, South Africa and Germany, to name a few. Professor Tak Ji-il has been studying the group for many years.
Sincheonji people hide who they are, and then to recruit people, they go into the church and try to recruit Christian.
All branches of the Sincheonji group have been closed here in South Korea, and they are being disinfected to try and stem the spread of the virus. Now, President Moon Jae-in said that this...
Man, correct me if I'm wrong, but that looked like something from a freaking North Korean television program. Look at these people. This is insane. Look at that. This could be, what's his name? Kim Jong-un walking down the line with all these maniacs clapping and freaking shouting how great the leader is. Look at this. This is like a picture from a North Korean freaking boot camp. Holy moly. I always said that South Koreans have a lot of North in them. It would be so very easy to convert South Korea to communism if anything happened. It would be unbelievable. The only thing that would stand in the way would be the comfort that South Koreans get. But like, give them the comfort and give them the order or force the order, and South Koreans will convert like you wouldn't believe it, man. This is Sparta indeed, my brother. Oh, jeez. Okay. This was an interesting clip. Just popped out by accident. I didn't even realize it was here. That was completely unplanned. Joe Boomer says, blaming them is starting to piss me off. BS. Maybe this corona is separating the wheat from the chaff. Yeah, I'm not blaming them. I'm just laughing at the organization, man. Like, this is... it's ridiculous. Like, they've got guards here. This is, like, it's bizarre, is what it is. Whatever it is, I think they're destruction as well. But the fact remains that most of the cases in South Korea come from this particular church. Is it happenstance? I have no idea. If it is, maybe it's lucky draw for whoever has been planning this all along. I don't know. I don't know. But the facts are in. 3,000 deaths from coronavirus. Let's update this quickly and see if anything's changed in the past hour and a half. No, 3,069 deaths from the coronavirus. 650,000 possible from the seasonal flu. Which one seems a lot more dangerous and intimidating? You tell me, my fellow listeners. Okay, I think we're gonna come to a close this shop up because it's getting late. Yeah, no, Pollocks are a different breed. We're a warrior bunch, but not so much politically inclined. Anywho, thank you all for joining tonight's podcast. I hope that was very good. It was interesting. Trod, if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, support the Live in Korea channel, share the love, help your friends. My family needs it because we lost our business for the next month. We've got no income, so if we can get this channel monetized, that would be fantastic. Every cent counts because we've got like 0 cents coming in right now and into our bank account. And I gotta figure out ways to make it, man. I don't know, might have to start selling myself on the street somewhere. But in the corona situation, might not be a very good idea. Joey Burma says, take care, folks. Say no to corona. Wash your hands, I say, and stay safe and stay clean. Please remember to subscribe, to like and share. And come back on Wednesday for another video from the Live in Korea channel. More of a vloggy type, a little bit from my life and see what happens. And then next week, we'll be back. I mentioned last week that there may be a guest. There isn't. He backed out. He was too busy. But somebody has approached me with the possibility of a guest. So maybe next week there might be a guest. Apparently they have a pretty interesting life. So hopefully that's going to happen next week. Alrighty. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. We'll see you on the next week podcast. The Korea podcast, tuning out. Bye-bye.